Alright, welcome to this last and final video, the third final video of a three-part series regarding the EDI functionality that is within BlueSeer. The BlueSeer software application does provide EDI functionality, and this video here is going to look at the overall processing, the typical day-to-day processing of an EDI document, and the reporting that is possible to review those transactions that are being processed as regards to status of successes or failures. So with that said, we're going to look at four primary menus real quick. The first menu is an EDI control file, and this menu here essentially just allows you to dictate what the inbound default directory is and the outbound default directory and several other default directories, and that's all that the EDI control file does. The load processor is the actual processing engine that you would run if you were manually trying to import documents, if you're trying to load documents through the BlueSeer engine. Then third, there is a menu of the EDI log, pretty much the only log file that exists for the EDI transactions, and it will show you the transactions that you load with the processor. It will show you the status of those transactions and a lot of detail about each transaction that is loaded. And then finally, we're going to look at a auto loading mechanism so that you don't have to run this manually. BlueSeer does have embedded within it a cron scheduler, task scheduler, and we're going to set that up and auto load the EDI load processor once every so many minutes, and we'll show you how to do that. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. The first menu we're going to look at is, let me go back to that for just a second. In parentheses here is the navigational text code to actually get to one of these four menus. So we're going to look at EDIC first. EDIC, press enter. And this is essentially the EDI control database, essentially the records for each database. And in this, it's really just the default directories that are loaded with the installation of BlueSeer for the out directory, the EDI in directory, scripts, and several other directories here as well. Note that they are all relative to the BlueSeer parent directory. Most of the time in Windows it's C://BlueSeer/EDI/out or /in, etc. But it all is relative to the root BlueSeer directory. Then this menu also holds several other variables that are used in other menus and functional modules in the BlueSeer application, namely AS2 module. BlueSeer does provide an AS2 module as well as a cert to create certs and to create signing certs and create encryption certs as well. So the main menu we want to look at is the processing EDI processor, and that's EDIP in the navigational text box. Press enter, and this is the main processor. So if there are any files in the EDI in directory, the default directory, it'll show up here. Right now there aren't any. So we're going to load that directory with some sample files. So we're going to go to BlueSeer. The parent directory is BlueSeer. Within that is an EDI directory, and there's a sample data directory underneath that. And we're going to grab all of these files, and we're going to load that into the in directory. And then we're going to come back to our menu. We're going to click refresh, and you'll be able to see the files. To load these files, you actually just click the load column, the checkbox in the load column for whichever files you want. You can also toggle all of them or toggle them all off. You also have the capability of reviewing the file. If you click on the file itself in the column, you will actually see the data here, and you can scroll down and actually review the data as well. Here's a JSON example, an IDOC example, and all these examples come with the default installation of BlueSeer. So you're welcome to use them as you see fit. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and load these. We're going to toggle all of them. And if you click the delete archive checkbox, it will not move these to the archive, and it will not delete them as well. So we're going to go ahead and leave that open. We're going to make sure that it actually deletes and archives the files. An FYI here, the debug, this will only allow you to debug one file at a time. If you actually tried to click on that with all these files, it should complain. Yeah, debug option is selected, only one file can be processed. So the debug option is only used for one file at a time. So let's refresh here, toggle, and we're going to click run. And you'll see that it runs. So it processes these 11 files fairly quickly. Now we want to review the transactions that were just processed. So address, EDI menu, EDI log. The load processor is here, and the load log is, and EDI log is here. You can also get to the EDI log by typing in EDIL and pressing enter. And this is the primary window, the primary menu that you will use to review the transactions that are processed on a daily basis. So click run, and you will see that all these transactions have processed through the engine. Some are successes, most of them are. Some of them are fails, and we'll go over those failure reasons as well. Just navigational aspects of this menu. If you click on the select tab, the little basket here, it'll bring up a detail screen that has individual descriptions of messages as it progresses through the loading of this transaction. So it first attempts to identify the file type, gives some information about the control numbers, tells what parent partner, if it must find a partner in the system to be able to complete its task. And then from that, it also needs to find a map to process against the document. And then at the bottom, you'll see a success or an error if the transaction mapped successfully. And you can remove you can hide the detail by clicking the hide detail button. Let me go back to that and pick up another one here. If you actually click on the description field here, it'll bring up a wider screen for you to actually look at that specific description. It's very helpful for example, this one here where you can't see everything without scrolling over. So click here and you'll see the entire message here. And you can hide the text menu or panel and hide the detail panel as well, and you're back to the main screen. That's the file view. Sometimes files have multiple documents within the file, so you can also look at a document log view as well by clicking this radio button, and it'll automatically load the data back in to the panel. And here you have more information, but also different information as well. You'll be able to see the inbound doc type, the outbound doc type, reference numbers. If, for example, where this is an X12, where's the X12 850? Right here, inside the BEG segment is this is the PO number. So you can, that field is also available in the browse data as well. And with regards to actually looking at the file content, you can click on the in view and the out in view for the inbound side of the map, and outbound for what was actually produced from the file. So if you look at inbound, you click there. This is the 850 that the engine processed through the processed the transaction. If you look at the outbound view, you will see that this must have been an 850 to an IDOC map, and that is the case. And this is an orders 05 IDOC. Again, the status codes are either green or red for success or fail. Now let me close this here. Some of these fails here are essentially, most of the time in their acknowledgments, I think this is a 997 acknowledgement. So the engine tried to process the 997, but this is just a fictitious 997. We didn't actually generate the document for this ASN that would have been replied to by this 997. So the message that you received in this is that unrecognized GS control number in the AK1. If we had generated that 856, then the 997 we received back would have been found in the database, and that would have been a success. That is the same thing for this control EDIFACT control file, and it was unrecognized GS control number in the an unrecognized control number in the UCI segment of the EDIFACT document. And then this final one here, this final failure is an example. Hide that, click that. Now here's an example of a document that we do not have the trading partner set up for. So the trading partner for this was unknown. And we do not have that by default in the trading partner table in Blue Seer. And so this is the message that you will get. Map variable is empty for this parent, unknown parent partner using this ISA6. So that's pretty much it for the log browser. One additional thing, you can actually drill down to some of these values if you've got a lot of information here. You can drill down per alias ID of the parent partner. So if I click that, you will just receive just those sender IDs. You can even drill down further with by document type. So if we pick the 850x12, there should have been one. Yeah, there's one. And then to get the entire set back, you can reset it back to blank. Click run, and you'll get all the records that are there as well. One final note on this is that you can also search by reference number, and it's whatever is contained in this field here, not the exact match, but whatever it contains. So if I just type in PO, any field in the reference column that contains the characters PO will be shown. Yeah, and here's test PO with that PO in it, and this value begins with the word PO. And you can also go back to the entire set by blanking that out as well. So that's the log file, the gist of the log file, the log browse. You can also search by date of transaction as well. So date, trade ID, document type, and potentially even a reference number as well. On the file log status, you can also clear these X's once you've reviewed the documents and you found out that they're not really an error. You can just click clear status, but you have to do each one. Also, if you happen to have let's say an X12, for this example, this unknown, if it did fail and you actually set up the trading partner, so you set up this trade ID and you wanted to reprocess it, you can reprocess it in the file log view menu by clicking the appropriate record here and click reprocess, and it will try to reprocess it. Okay, the final, so that's the log files, and we've already looked at the EDI loading mechanism for the manual loading of the file. And the final thing we're going to look at is the cron scheduler, and that menu requires, or that functionality requires you to have a service running in the background, a cron or schedule service that's running in the background. On a Windows system, you would most likely create that as a service and let it run in the background. On Linux, which is what I'm on here, you can just open up another terminal session and let it run in that window as well. So where am I at here? There. Okay, so I'm going to open up another terminal session. And this is the command that you would use to run it on a Linux. So this is the, I'm inside the BlueSeer parent directory. I'm calling the Java against this class path, and you're going to run this main class, utilities.cron server. This is the exact same command that you would run on Windows. So you'd open up a DOS prompt, go to the BlueSeer parent directory, and then you would run this executable. And what that'll do is kick off the cron server that's embedded within the BlueSeer application. Okay, and you just let that aside and it'll continue to run in the background. In Linux, you could have ran it in the background, and definitely on Windows, you would want to run it as a Windows service so that it is run in the background. A couple things to note here. There's a watchdog job that runs every minute. The cron job can only run at a minimum of 1 minute. So if you do make a change, you create a job or you make a change to the job, then it'll take at least a minute or a little more before you see that effect. So let's go to the cron job menu, and we're going to open up a cron job. The cron job can be visited by cron. Oh, I guess I'm already there. You can go back to the home page. Key in cron, and this is the cron menu. By default, on the installation, BlueSeer comes with one cron job, the EDI job, which will load the EDI processor. You can accept the defaults here. This expression is scheduled for every 30 minutes. So we're going to set that to just every 2 minutes. And we're going to enable it. It comes disabled by default. So we're going to enable it, change it to every 2 minutes, and we're going to click update. All right, and then in that task job that's running, and within another minute, we should see the EDI job show up here as a job that will be scheduled. So let's grab some more of the inbound files, because there should be nothing in the EDI in directory, and there isn't. Go to the sample data. We're going to grab them all again. We're going to grab 3 of them. Go back to the EDI in directory. And these should disappear upon the next event run of the EDI job. So let's see what we got here. List of jobs. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Oh, it just took it. So it just ran. The EDI job is here. The next runtime was 2024, which is, oh, this is actually already ran here. Where did it run? Adding new cron job, EDI job. The job this is firing at 2022, at well, 2021, and then it'll run again in 2024. The watchdog here, this service here runs. This next run, it runs every minute, and it's going to run at 2023, 2024, 2025, etc. The EDI job will run every 2 minutes. But you'll notice that it did process it, and if you go back to the main screen, you should see new records there. And you'll see the timestamp is, yeah, 2022 is when it ran. So these 3 files just processed in. We can show an example of that one more time. We'll grab 3 additional files. Sample directory. Choose these 4. Put them in the in directory, and they should get gone here in less than a minute. Yeah, that should be running here for you in a second. How many records we have? So we have 14 transactions total here. We should get 4 more. Should get 18 here when this file runs again. Shouldn't be but a couple more seconds, I would think. And yeah, this job will run in the background continuously so that you don't have to load it. So you'd have scripts that drop your EDI files into this EDI in directory, and every 2 minutes they'll get picked up and processed through the engine. And then you can just review the log file for the transactions that get processed. And there they go. So at 2024 they processed. You can actually send this to a log file if you want, just to see what files are processed, but you don't really need to, because you can look at the EDI log menu. Yep, got a total of 18 now. So yeah, that demonstrates the auto loading of the EDI processor in general, so that you don't have to manually process these. And that cron job does come by default with the installation. You can adjust it as necessary. And I think I have another video of more detail about the cron maintenance with regards to the expression and some of these other fields as well. But by default, it is the only the job that we have in the system. All right, that's pretty much it for the processing and reporting and the auto scheduling. Let's go back to the page. Okay, yeah, that's it. So yeah, if you have any questions, this is the last video of it. We do plan to add a couple more videos of mapping, and specific mapping with regards to examples of, say, JSON to X12 850 or XML to an 850, stuff like that. We did finally finish up the extra 2 formats. So right now there are 6 types of formats that are supported by the EDI module. And the last 2 that we were trying to do was JSON and XML, and they are supported. So give it a spin. If you have any problems with it, please send feedback, and particularly bugs. If you find any bugs, send bugs to support@blueseer.com. Feel free to visit the website. There's also some more contact information. All the downloads are there. And again, Blueseer is a free software package, and all the downloadables are free to use and free to use at your convenience. You can also visit the project source site at github.com. There's more information there, and there's also a ticket system. You can put in a support ticket as well. All right, thank you.